Yes, yes. Peace, peace, and blessings, Sapo. The Honorable One, the Success Scholar, Hakeem me. Thank you all for tuning in, listening in. Yes, yes. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful day. A little cool here, broadcasting live in Maryland. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. No rain, and any day above ground is a good day. But I wanted to speak today about Reginald F. Lewis and his life and legacy, just briefly. From what I know, I'm going to kind of go off the top of my head with this conversation, but I also wanted to extend this conversation uh, to say, just how and why individuals are not necessarily thinking big, as well as what's keeping many of us from accepting our divine destiny to progress and prosper and to grow and achieve. For those who may not know, Reginald F. Lewis is from Baltimore. He's from the east side of Baltimore. And that just goes to show you can be like the success scholar and be from the west side of Baltimore and be like Reginald F. Lewis, who's from the east side of Baltimore and still come out on top. All right. Everybody achieves different levels of success at different times. And so, with that being said, I want to say, shout out to all of those who have kept his legacy alive in the city, the folks at the museum, because I believe that, it gives inspiration to individuals that do not accept being average and mediocre, just accepting an employee, accepting a consumer, uh, accepting of a rental mentality. So it took a different mentality for Reginald Lewis to assess the global economic system uh, in this period, in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, and really position himself to leverage a major deal. And I've read his book. I believe I may have read it once or twice, but I've seen several interviews, and there is going to be I don't know if it's Disney Channel, Discovery Channel. There's going to be something coming out on him on history or in Black History Month in February. So I'll learn more about that coming up here tomorrow, where I will be present at the museum. And so, yes, individuals may still RSVP for that at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum. The cost just includes the cost of the admission, I believe. Well, that's what it said on there. But several, I'm sure, dignitaries will be present since it will be on December the 7th, his 75th year anniversary if he had lived. I believe he transitioned at 53. Yes, I recall he was the same age as Kenneth Bridges of the Matan Network, who as well was doing some amazing, phenomenal things in this society. And so, as I reflect back on all that I mean, it's really sad, unfortunately, even in Baltimore, that I can't recall, and I'm sure it may have been taught in the different the public school system that I attended, but I cannot recall hearing stories about Reginald F. Lewis. I mean, and you would think, and I'm beginning to see why. I'm beginning to understand how, for instance, many individuals in a particular geographic area, they don't necessarily respect individuals' intellectual achievements and economic achievements and knowledge and wisdom achievements, particularly in a depressed environment such as Baltimore, even amongst the so-called intelligentsia, even the business gurus, the politicos, particularly black folks, because many I affirm and believe are still under, a psychological bondage, where they're viewing themselves through their the value that has been placed upon them within the society from the system makers, those that create the economic inequalities and the historic disproportionate wealth and the unequal education. And so individuals are only to fit into what, educational, economic systems that, individuals have prescribed. And so Reginald F. Lewis broke that mold on many different levels. And I'm suggesting, I'm encouraging individuals to certainly read his work. Those that have the ability, or want to make a transformation, you got to get into a mindset of what some of these people, are actually into. You think Reginald F. Lewis, spent time, debating and running around, engaging in some of the conversations that many people have on social media, or just the gossip columns, or for instance, even in Baltimore, the activist environment. No, he was about creating opportunities and creating jobs and striving to create excellence in his business and his profession. And so this is where, for instance, and I'm sure that he had particular barriers and individuals that, cast dispersions and, outright hostilities and hatred towards him. But you got to have some tough skin. You got to have that desire. You got to have that eye of the tiger. That you're gonna win. You're gonna win. You're the best. You train like an athlete. You studied the right materials. You showed up at the right conferences. You read the right books. You got whatever credentials and skills that you need, and you know that you are indeed I don't want to plug book, but you are unstoppable, right? You are unstoppable. And so this is the mindset that Reginald F. Lewis had when he actually did the deal that grossed him over $1 billion. So that's what's going to be discussed tomorrow, of course, at the Reginald F. Lewis Museum. It starts at 9:30 a.m. Individuals may, for instance, RSVP for that. But I did something else rather recently. Several weeks ago, I just I didn't realize this was the 75th anniversary of Reginald F. Lewis, but I did a book review of his book, and I also did Donahue Peebles' book as well. Donahue Peebles is out of the DC area. The Peebles Principle. Check it out. Check it out. Big time real estate guru. And I know that just had a election in Atlanta, but Donahue Peebles, Mayor Marion Barry assisted him in much of his skills and development and achievements. And so Donahue Peebles, as well as we did Dr. Randall Pickett's book, Black Faces in White Places. So I did both of those, as well as I had Reginald Lewis book on hand at that time. But unfortunately, it's at my other residence in the Baltimore area. So I'm gonna pick those up. I'm going to Coppin State tonight, so those that's in Coppin. But yes, do consider getting copies for me. I do have copies, but I just wanted to really address that because we don't think that we can reach these different levels. We don't believe, and it's extraordinary. Yes, extraordinary to say the least that individuals uh, create $1 billion industry. But and not necessarily to put it a dollar amount, on any of your achievements, but don't put your value, don't allow for your total value to be caught up in someone else's perceived value of you. Because when you're reading the right books, you're showing up at the right conferences, you're investing in yourself, you developing work ethic, you uh, putting your money together, and with the right people, building the right team. persons with hard, work ethic, good lifestyle habits. They're not out blowing tens of thousands of dollars on silly things. Uh, Individuals that are really trying to get to the next level. And sometimes you gotta, watch people's lifestyle. They are they blowing their money that should be invested back into their business, for instance. So I have to begin to question all that, and I think that it's a necessary thing. Who's gonna offer, for instance, employment uh, in many of the black communities? I'm simply, I don't see where it's going to come from. But what's interesting and what is dangerous is that many, peace, peace, is that many, for instance, in Baltimore, and I proposed something, and it wasn't necessarily a it wasn't necessarily a thing that I had my direct power on, my direct hand on, in terms of my abilities to create employment. But I recently put out an opportunity, for instance, to create a major opportunity in the city of Baltimore. So I did the press release rather recently, and it's really interesting. And this is why I titled this "What's Stopping Baltimore?" And I would say black people. I think that there's a conspiracy. There's a absolute plot to keep most. There's this class. I mean, it's almost like a imaginary line. Somebody created a type of whistle, a dog whistle, that you can't go beyond this perceived line. And there are a lot of um, ignorant people, that refuse to learn, refuse to educate themselves, and refuse to show up at the right places. And I'm to the point now where in terms of the level of precision that's needed to execute some of these things, the Reginald F. Lewis type of determination uh, to execute what needs to be executed. That not necessarily everyone is going to be able to make it. Not everybody is going to be in a position to see your growth and progress, and do the right thing. And unfortunately, we got some really dead individuals in power and influence. They got people listening to these different individuals. I'd say 99.9% of these individuals, and we'll be able to see that tomorrow. And there are a lot of coaches and authors and teachers, and and people, they won't necessarily even show up to things like this. Although sometimes in some positions, some of these individuals, these are the individuals who, for instance, could be a blessing to your economic progress. These individuals could invest in your operation. I'm not necessarily making a distinction between you know individuals, white, black, or anyone else. But coming up here, unfortunately, I got my brother Keenan coming tomorrow for that event. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I recently, and got the films promoting. This is gentrified film. It's talking about gentrification. So individuals certainly can get copies of that. We're gonna have these conversations. We certainly gonna have these conversations, regardless of whether individuals on some of these radio stations that have been dumbing black people down for years, whether they refuse to acknowledge or understand what my role was with this book and bringing this book to the city of Baltimore, and how the potential to transform the lives of tens of thousands of young people need to happen. And unfortunately, uh, we cannot afford to be mentally enslaved in 2017. So I just say continue to make the necessary progress. Again, I do have copies of the Reginald F. Lewis book. And yeah, oh, and that's who we interviewed. And I do still have those copies of that book review that we did, and it's something that people need to see. And it's unfortunately that many of these coaches and teachers, they won't show up to things like this, and vice versa, because there are skills, for instance, that I learned from places like the Power Networking Conference, where all these different major business gurus come each and every year, as well as, for instance, the as well as, for instance, the yeah, what was it called? It was called the Get Motivated Conference that, I attended. Several gurus were there, intelligent individuals. So you got to have your network of intelligent individuals that you listen to on a regular basis. I mean, if you're trying to make a level of transformation, and of course, yes, you should. You should certainly consider, inviting the Success Scholar to your event, to your town, to your city. Let's work together. Let's create some joint venture products. I've read the right books and showed up at the right places. And, I'm absolutely convinced that for certain, without a shadow of a doubt, that if are not having me speak to your audience, your crowd, you're kind of keeping people, enslaved. And if you can show me another person, let me know individuals who have read 100 books a year for 11 years. Not to necessarily brag on myself, or not that that means anything in the big picture, but there's some depth here. So no, I don't just run all over the country to take pictures with celebrities, as one brother said. Like, no, I listen to people, I think, I read the books, I listen to various audio informational things, I study history, study politics, what's going on in politics. And so, just like I just posted this recent book, the new urban crisis the new urban crisis that speaks about, the poor in New York and San Francisco, and the wealthy, and it's more of a spin on gentrification. And the creative class is what, these economists are referring to these individuals as. And so I would like to just say that, regardless of where you stand in your life and in your position, you gotta make a choice, and you gotta, make some economic decisions, not just for you, but for your family and for your children's and your children's children. And so you gotta ask yourself a question: who am I gonna listen to? Are you gonna listen to the you know the I'm not gonna say the poor, but the poor in mentality, the poor in, their creative abilities to redirect their time, redirect their efforts and energy to execute in this system based upon racism and white supremacy. And I mention that because, again, there are forces out here, there are individuals out here, and they've tried to hamper, for instance, the rise of the Success Scholar movement. But I'm attesting that, it's their abilities to deter has certainly been tarnished by my skill, by my perfection, by my organizational sophistication, by my time and money management. And so I'm building a conscious, empowered movement today and tomorrow. And I'll be at Coppin this evening, as well as Coppin on Monday. There's a play there. So I'm working with some of the theater individuals today. And we got some different films flowing: 1804 and, the Black Friday Part 2. That's got the Black Friday show on. So definitely you can get copies of these, and holler at me. And we're working on putting together some events as well in the DMV area, as well as we have space in Baltimore, office space. So for those that are interested, do share, click like, subscribe. We are going to another level. I'm setting up some different marketing strategies, some landing pages, some more communications email system. And so for those that have experience that would like to volunteer, partner, or joint venture. I have several products that already have been created. And again, it's all about putting your money in the right places. I mean, look, I'm in the book with these two gentlemen, and if we work together sincerely, if we work together, not just trying to make a quick buck out of it, don't be penny wise and pound foolish when you're dealing with me. All right, because things are popping now. We got the gentrified going. We got Black Friday too. We got 1804, and we got this, and we got other interviews, amazing interviews that we've done with several individuals uh, that we certainly can take things to another level. And so I'm working smart over the next few weeks, next few months to really ensure that individuals who may not necessarily have the intellectual depth of what I have, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna push them, to really just get these individuals out of the way from dumbing down the masses of our people. And so I say continue on for those that are in the DMV area, for those that like sports. I'm working with the young Coppin basketball team tonight, so gonna have some powerful words for them to get ready for their first day matchup. So we want to encourage individuals, these athletes to do the right thing, to get inspired, to get knowledge of self, to get consciousness, right? So that's in terms of what I deal with consciousness and capital, and this is why we need individuals that understand that balance dynamic of consciousness and capital, like Dr. Amos Wilson laid out. And so again, I'll let the Success Scholar do listen back to this, subscribe, like, and share, of course, and do connect the dots. I do have a more in-depth interview with brother William Murray, and we talk about the Reginald F. Lewis phenomenon in his book and several other amazing individuals booking. But I hope to see for those that are in the DMV area, and as well as those that, I mean, if you got any ambition about anything, you want to, you want to get around the people who've been there, So I just, but it's really interesting, how poverty, the psychology of poverty has tarnished, many of our thought processes. We are making excuses about showing up, why we can't show up to certain events, and an almost free event where you can listen and learn about individual who created opportunity, for, I'm sure, someone that looks like you and I down the road. I'm sure somewhere along the line an opportunity was created by him doing this business deal. And so, and there will be some serious thinkers and teachers, as well as serious people with some deep pockets present there as well, like the brother. Nah. But well, I wish we could get Les Brown and Dr. George Frazier. So yeah, that's Les Brown, that's Dr. George Frazier. They got some deep pockets. So, and I'll just say, if yes, these gentlemen, they get paid a pretty significant amount of money to speak, and yes, you can offer the Success Scholar to as well to speak at your event. Do consider it. My statement is, if you would invite Les Brown and if you would invite George Frazier, you can invite the Success Scholar. So yes, yes. So just do nod your head like this, yes and yes. So if you know of any events, it's okay. It's okay to offer uh, the Success Scholar to be present. All they're gonna get is some scholarships, some Success Scholar knowledge. They will be impressed. They will thank you. They will be happy that you thought of me and happy that I accepted. And yes, these gentlemen get paid anywhere from 10 to 20 to $30,000 to speak. And yes, the Success Scholar with the knowledge and skills and how I've invested my capital and quite getting to a particular level where individuals should want to hear from me. And so when you have radio programs, for instance, that in the Baltimore area that want to keep people poor. I just believe that it's a shame, and you all should boycott them. You all should, let them know that they are failing to uplift and empower the community in a proper way. They're not reading the right books. They're not encouraging people to read the right books. They're not encouraging people to show up at the right conferences to invest in themselves. And so I'm just like, man, this is like this is slavery all over. And you don't want to be a slave. And slavery first and foremost begins in the mind of individuals who may not know that they were slaves. And so you gotta ask yourself a question: Who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Don't let people rent space in your head. And that's where I'm saying you got to clear your mind. Unfortunately, many of today's so-called teachers and leaders out here, they're not necessarily developing individuals. They're not empowering individuals. And this is where I am, with all of my reading and networking. It's like, look, I mean, you're gonna have to. I mean, what's wrong with you? Are you jealous? You're jealous. You can do it. I'm not. Well, and here's the thing. I'm not saying that everybody need to read 100 books a year for 11 years. You can just get some of my audios where I review certain key books, and of course, you can hire me as your coach or consultant. I'm not going to tell you to read 100 books a year. You can read a couple and let me, guide you. I can save you a lot of money. I can save you a lot of money and a lot of time, is what I'm saying. So I know just where I'm at with this, and progress is being made. And I'm showing up Thursday. I'm showing up. I'm gonna be there. And and I'm not there to necessarily kiss butt. I'm there because I've earned it. And um, oh yeah, I got to bring my book and hold my book with me so folk will know. Yes, yes, these are some millionaires. And now I'm in the film Black Friday. Got a little part, little speaking part in there. But yeah, so Mike Roberts is in that film, Black Friday Part Two. Yes, Dr. Joel Dudley Sr., where he explains, a little bit how he made $1 million in one day. If you could talk to someone, and I actually had a conversation with Mr. Joe Dudley maybe 3 years ago when I went there and I gave him a copy of my book, and it's just been a really good experience. And so he wanted me to go to some training that he was doing, because he trains on Think and Grow Rich. That's what he trains on, and that's what one of the key books that I've read. So this has been really long, y'all. So let me go ahead and be out. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Holla at the Success Scholar. Stay connected. I'm out. Peace.